Good afternoon. Welcome into a Top 5 Tuesday edition of Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Chris Yao and Maurice Patton here on this very fine Tuesday.
Very fine.
Very fine Tuesday. If it would just stay
very
like
fine
this,
for November 7th.
Yeah, stay like this all day, every day, I think I would be just happy.
Fine.
I would be just fine. It would not hurt my feelings, not one bit. Unfortunately, it's not going to stay this way, so we're going to enjoy it while we have it.
It's supposed to stay this way pretty much through the week, though.
Yeah, through the week, fine, but
well,
I'll take it.
dang,
I'm
bro.
enjoying it while we have it. I would much rather just be this way from here until May, or until next November. Every day, just like this.
It's funny. That's
But I
what
don't
they
live
say
in San
about.
Diego.
That's what they say about San Diego. You would get bored if you had this weather every day. I'm like, try me.
Listen, I don't
Give
think
it to
you
me till I get bored.
Yeah, I don't think you understand.
You don't understand.
Listen, if I only and never have to change my closet,
I
It would just be
I can get rid of a lot of
a
stuff.
lot of stuff. My closet could just be this. I got one set. This is all I got. I don't need a coat. I don't need. I'm good to go.
Yes.
All day long.
Don't threaten me with a good time.
Ain't no doubt.
Yeah.
Oh, hope you guys are having a good time. We are excited about today's show because it's basketball season. I haven't found anywhere to put the towel yet, but it's going to go back up at some point.
We might have to put it on the wall, but we can't cover the basketball, the coveted basketball
It
any
is
longer.
hoops season, and we are excited about it. So I hope you guys are excited as well. We've got Blake Lovell from Southeastern 14. He's going to talk to us a little bit about SEC opening night. We were going to talk a little bit about other games from around the mid-state as well as nationally that took place last night and may have caught our attention. We'll visit with Chip Walters as well as MTSU men and women get the win last night, but the men dominated a team that's likely going to be in the NCAA tournament. So pretty impressive win for Nick McDevitt.
Yeah, and as I was watching that develop last night, I kind of flashed back to conversations that we had with Justin Buford in Huntsville and with Nick McDevitt over on campus. And they're like, we're probably going to take some lumps, but we're going to win some of these too. Well, last night was the latter. And like you said, against a team that from the Horizon League is highly regarded.
That's right.
And so
pick to win the Horizon. So there you go.
Highly regarded.
It's pretty impressive. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that as well. Terry McCormick is going to have some news at 3 o'clock. I'm sure if you have not heard, there's some big news out of St. Thomas Sports Park. So we'll talk with Terry about that a little bit later and all. But yeah, it's going to be a great show. Top 5 today is top 5 sports scandals.
Can't imagine what prompted that.
No, I have no idea. It was just out of the top of my head or something. But yeah, and this one's got a lot of depth to it. There are a lot of sports scandals. So,
and scandal is kind of open-ended too. You can go in a lot of different directions.
So we're gonna draft the scandals. Yeah, all that coming your way. So also, college football playoff committee is meeting probably now, and at 7 o'clock tonight on ESPN, they will announce their top 25. And so we'll tell you a little bit about what we think they're going to do, what they should do, who knows. That way you don't have to watch tonight.
There you go.
You got other things to do.
Hey, we did help them with that last week.
Yeah. Well, by we, you mean you. Then yes. But looking forward to it. It's going to be a good conversation. James Madison's back in the news. There's a lot going on.
Still in the news.
Plenty going on.
Oh, James Madison basketball in the news as well.
Yeah, they're not taking any sports off.
No
sports off at JMU. So
better recognize.
It's gonna be a good show. Looking forward to it. Hope you guys will stick around. Right now, we're gonna give you yesterday's results and today's schedule on the rundown.
This is the rundown.
College men's basketball action from Monday night. Austin P beats Life. Didn't we all like to be able to say that? 90-72, the Govs with the win.
Comeback fashion, though.
Yeah. Well, Life had them going for a minute.
Had them on the ropes.
Doesn't it all? Yeah. Belmont with an 89-87 win over Georgia State. Wichita State 76, Lipscomb 59. As we mentioned, Middle Tennessee State with that 74-57 win over Northern Kentucky. Tennessee State downs Fisk 76-61. And Tennessee with an 80-42 victory over Tennessee Tech on the Summit in Thompson Bowling Arena at the Food City Center.
Yep, on and at.
Yeah, there we go.
Women's basketball action last night. Karen Booker getting her season started off with a bang, downing Austin P 75-59. Not just a win, but a dominant performance from the Lady Trojans. So well done there. Missouri downs Belmont yesterday morning at 72-61. Middle Tennessee State gets a 67-47 win over Memphis. Tennessee State.
Hold up. Over Memphis and former Lady Raider assistant Alex Simmons.
Poor Alex.
Yeah.
Tennessee State with a 53-47 win over Wilberforce. North Alabama downs UT Southern 90-47. And I had to go find that on UNA's website because UT Southern did not have the score listed.
If you don't list it, did it happen?
Exactly. Kennesaw State came to Memorial and went back to Georgia with their tails tucked 98-51.
Today's schedule on the men's side, 7 o'clock. You can see it on SEC Network Plus. The Blue Hose of Presbyterian come to Memorial Gym, taking on the Vanderbilt Commodores. Women's action, 6 o'clock on ESPN Plus. Lipscomb is at Evansville at 5:30 on SEC Network Plus. Florida A&M is at Tennessee. College football tonight, little action. Central Michigan is at Western Michigan. That's at 6 on ESPNU. Also at 6 on CBS Network, Sports Network. Ball State is at Northern Illinois, and Ohio is at Buffalo at 6:30 on the Deuce. On the ice, Predators still out west, taking on Calgary. Puck drop 8 o'clock on Valley Sports South. And in soccer, Nashville Soccer Club at Geodis Park backs to the wall. Down 1-0 in this series against Orlando City. That one starts at 8 o'clock and can be seen on Apple TV. And that is your rundown.
our friends at Piggly Wiggly and Neely's Mill Shopping Center here in Columbia. Make sure to go see them if you are needing a good lunch. They got great lunch specials with cobblers, meats, vegetables, and all of that. Your choice. You can combine whatever you need to combine to make a great lunch. So make sure to go see them for that. Hand cut meats, fresh daily, as well as produce and more. All of your grocery needs. Cost plus 10 at the register at Piggly Wiggly in Columbia. Today's top story, Mo.
I love the way you have phrased this.
What's that? Oh, wait. Where did I phrase it?
Go ahead.
In the tweet?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
The Big Ten has notified Michigan that it may have violated violated the league sportsmanship rule.
Possibly.
Formal notification was received of potential disciplinary action. It is a required step in the disciplinary process via the Big Ten sportsmanship policy, Rule 10.3.2. In the event it becomes clear, this is great. Read this carefully. In the event it becomes clear that an institution is likely to have subjected to be subjected to disciplinary action, the commissioner shall notify that institution or individual at the earliest reasonable opportunity. Under no circumstances shall the commissioner comment publicly regarding either an investigation or disciplinary action without having first provided notice to any involved institution or individual.
So they are following their protocol. So now the commissioner is open to comment publicly since the institution has been notified.
It is now clear that an institution is likely to be subjected to disciplinary action.
It is now clear.
It is now clear that they are likely.
I think it was pretty clear for a pretty good while.
Well, Michigan fans would have you believe otherwise. They are pretty upset online. I don't know if you've seen them hashtag on here, but it is rough out there in Michigan land right now. They are going through it and they are tweeting through it. It's bad. The time frame within which an institution or individual shall provide its or his or her position shall be set by the commissioner and shall be reasonable in light of circumstances. So, I mean, essentially, Nicole Auerbach is reporting that there should be a resolution by the middle of the week.
Middle of this week?
What she says.
That's pretty ambitious.
Well, that's kind of that's what she said, though, right? Is that, it's the time frame within which an institution or individual shall provide its position shall be set by the commissioner and shall be reasonable in light of the circumstances. So basically, this is saying you're not going to send them the notice of potential disciplinary action without already having said disciplinary action just about ready to go.
Yeah.
And apparently, as you mentioned last week, the Michigan athletics director, who is on the college football playoff committee, is not in today's meeting.
A little busy.
Look, man, this is about to get, this is interesting. What's going to happen?
Do they make them forfeit the games?
I don't think so. I think they're going to suspend him, and that's going to be it.
Suspend
Harbaugh.
So they're not going to do anything to the team. They're just going to, if I'm Michigan and that's all you're going to do is suspend my head coach, but you're not going to take any opportunities from us to continue to pursue a Big Ten and a national championship, I'm good with that. I'm absolutely good with that if I'm a Michigan fan. Heck, we can win without him.
Here's the Big Ten's problem. The Big Ten's problem is Notre Dame is falling like a ton of bricks. And all of Ohio State's resume keeps getting worse. Meanwhile, Georgia's resume is getting much better with Ole Miss, Missouri looking good, Tennessee to come, maybe an SEC championship game. And if somehow, Ohio State say they beat Michigan, right? That's not great for the resume because, well, Michigan is not Michigan. So it's not like it does anything helpful to your resume. So what they need is for Harbaugh to be coaching in that game and for Michigan to be at, quote, full strength.
So you're not even saying you're going to suspend them for the rest of the season. You're going to suspend them for what?
I don't know. I'm just saying, like, it could be 2 games. It could be 1 game. It could be, I don't know. But they need Michigan at full strength when they play Ohio State.
How do you make that happen and address this?
I don't think you can.
Yeah, exactly.
But they're going to try. And it's going to be an underwhelming penalty for, all of the things that we have seen. Now, the Lang dude in Ann Arbor who works for the Associated Press came out with a story that said other teams also had Michigan's signals. I find that hard to believe. Mainly because
sounds good.
You're not giving up 45 points in a game that you know what play is coming. I don't care how much more athletic the other team is. It's not happening. So I feel like that's just a big nothing burger. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But sure is interesting that the Big Ten is planning to go around the NCAA here. Because remember, this is just the Big Ten. The NCAA could still come in and do something. The NCAA could still step in. Now, it's probably not going to be this year. But if they determine that something took place and that rules were broken.
I don't know that they're going around the NCAA, though. I mean, maybe they're kind of getting out ahead of the NCAA in hopes that the NCAA will take what they have done as sufficient and let's move on.
And not waste NCAA resources.
Well, I mean, they already got an Ann Arbor bureau. I mean,
yeah, it's pretty rough right now. Look, in the context of all of the other things that have gone on in Michigan, like you said, they might as well just set up shop. To me, it feels like, this feels way worse than anything Jim Tressel did. With the tattoos and basically NIL.
Yeah. And I think that's what makes anything that took place at Ohio State kind of pale in comparison because it would all be legal now.
Well, and
I don't think, and here's the thing. A lot of this, I don't know that it would be legal, but it would be less illegal. I mean, you're going to have electronic communications.
Well,
right.
Yeah. And so in the bowl games, if both teams agree,
and why would you not?
They will allow you to have in-helmet communication with your quarterbacks, which, much like the NFL. I don't know why colleges haven't gone to this other than, schools like MTSU and Jacksonville State may not can afford it. But I mean, it's two microphones and 2 earphones, and you already have Coach Com on the sidelines. I I don't think it would be that big of an expense.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, that gets rid of this completely. But Jim Tressel was suspended for 6 games by the NFL for what he did.
So what?
That's right. He was suspended by the NFL to so that no team would hire him and he couldn't fall up after that situation.
I didn't know the NFL had a show cause.
And so to me, this is just my opinion. If you are messing with the integrity of the game, it's not just a college football issue. That's a football issue.
Mm-hmm.
That's the game issue. And for me, I don't think 2 games is enough. I think that the NCAA may take 2 games into consideration and maybe shorten a potential suspension from a full year to 6 games. But if you're Michigan, do you take a 6-game suspension and all of the other things that have happened with Michigan over the last 2 years and just get rid of Jim Harbaugh with calls?
Do you feel like Michigan is there?
I think at some point you've got to stop being embarrassed by your head coach. And from day one, he's been embarrassing this place.
Are they embarrassed? What makes you think they're embarrassed? He's 2-0 in his last 2 outings against Ohio State, which is about all that matters. What makes you think they're embarrassed?
That he cheated to get those wins, potentially?
Potentially.
I mean,
you don't know. They don't know.
But the
all they know is they won.
But the NCAA is going to find out.
Well, they're going to find out if they cheated or not.
Yeah.
But still,
you can reasonably assume that they cheated against the best team they play.
Well, but here's the thing. Oh, yeah. I mean, what's the point in cheating against Purdue if you're not going to cheat against Ohio State, right? But I mean, but the question, and you're never going to know this, is the thing. You can assume, you can presume, but you don't know that they couldn't have beaten Ohio State without cheating. You don't know that. You do not know that. You can assume it all you want to. You don't know.
Okay. But still.
And that's what Michigan fans are going to hang on to.
That's fine. But I don't know that you can continue to, because here's the thing. You have an opportunity to still not know if you get rid of him. If you keep him and he can't beat him, then you know. So here's your choice. Get rid of him.
Wipe the slate clean.
And pretend that you would have won anyway. Or keep him
and get drilled.
What is that? Better to be thought a fool than open your mouth and prove them right?
Yeah. then
kind of the same thing here.
Yeah. Better to be silent and be thought a fool than speak and remove all doubt. Is the way that goes. Yeah. I'll help you out there.
That's the same exact mindset that I'm thinking here. You have an opportunity to keep that. We would have won anyway.
And you'll never know.
And you'll never know.
Or we can run him back out there and get 51-8.
And then we will probably know.
Yeah.
So, I'm just saying that's where I'm at. So anyway.
It's reasonable.
Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, Coach Com in bowl helmets, which will be really fun.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking forward to watching college quarterbacks walk around like this for half a game.
Yeah.
Of course, bowl games are rarely loud enough that
That's
it's necessary. But yeah, I think it's a great idea. I think it's really good for the game. And it would, boy, if you don't think that Rich Rodriguez and Josh Heupel are begging for Coach Com, they already run plays at 20 something seconds a pop. That gets it down to 18.
Oh, and the cramp issues for those opponents just went up exponentially
already.
Yeah.
So anyway, but yeah, looking forward to seeing how that plays out in the bowl season. Let's take a break. When we come back, we will talk with Blake Lovell of Southeastern 14, going to join us here and talk a little SEC hoops. So stick around on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. We'll be back in a moment. Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net. Custom Stone Handler supplies over 600 distributors and suppliers with quality stone products. Along with River Stone, we produce and distribute over 100 building, landscape, and other bulk products. Our goal is to provide quality products, service, and partnerships to ensure our customers' success. We firmly believe that the measure of any person or company is how they treat other people and customers. Give them a call at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com. Mockingbird Title and Escrow is an attorney-owned and operated full-service title company in Middle Tennessee. We get your deals closed without worry and fuss. We're a family business that offers the highest level of expertise in our industry when it comes to closing and funding your real estate transactions.
And it's a job I really love. I'm passionate about this. I'm enthusiastic about this. I like to think we're pretty well-rounded and can deal with a wide range of needs and a wide range of clients.
Call 615-274-8698 today.
With Lee Company technology, the best handymen are hands-off. Lee Company techs have been using visual findings and other smart technology tools for years to add transparency and virtually take customers along. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on a roof. With Lee Company, technology helps us help you, no matter what's happening in the world or at your house.
Piggly Wiggly, located in Neely's Mill Shopping Center, is Columbia's locally owned and operated Cost Plus 10 grocery store dedicated to serving the community with low prices and smiling faces. Piggly Wiggly offers fresh, hand-cut meats daily as well as daily hot plate lunches from their deli counter. You're certain to see smiling faces and a helping hand when you're here at Piggly Wiggly. Come by and check out our fresh produce, high-quality meats, and more. Down home, down the street, we'll see you at the Pig.
Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Murray County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic service, and our Ortho Quick Walk-In Clinic lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net.
Welcome back into Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint, live from the Lee Company studio here in Columbia. Chris Yao and Maurice Patton. Time now to talk a little SEC hoops. Plenty of it yesterday, so let's get into it. And to do that, we have with us Southeastern 14's Blake Lovell. Blake, what's up, man?
Hey, guys. How are you?
Doing well. Loving that cap.
Yeah, it's solid.
Well,
That's
we would have all loved it a little bit more had things went a little differently.
Hey, we would indeed, but you know, everybody's 0-0 now.
That's
Blake.
right. Still unbeaten.
Which is more than we can say for, you know, some basketball teams right now, I guess.
True. Georgia has a loss, so I guess the state of Georgia, yeah. Braves, Georgia Bulldogs football team doesn't have a loss, but yeah. So Georgia only team to lose on night one. I think that's good. Sometimes the SEC you get some upsets we've seen over the years on night one that make you scratch your head a little bit, but didn't really have any of those, so that was nice.
Now, Georgia, I mean, they lost to Oregon. That's not exactly an upset, but maybe the way they played was a little discouraging if you're a Georgia fan.
Yeah, I mean, Oregon's picked fourth in the Pac-12, and I mean Georgia, picked what 12th, I think in the SEC. So yeah, not exactly high expectations, but I don't know. I just think Georgia's kind of got a limit right now in terms of what their ceiling is in this SEC landscape, and give Mike White a lot of credit. He came in last year and took a team that was just, I mean, completely bottomed out. With the prior regime, and they won 16 games, which was 10 more than they won the previous season. So I think he's done a good job recruiting and such, but it's a hard league right now, and that's what we always say. Kind of, and this is a problem I think like a Vanderbilt ran into several years ago. Is once you get so far down, when you see the recruiting, the level of coaches that are in here now, it's really hard to make your way back up, and that's kind of what we're seeing from Georgia and teams like that right now.
Yeah, they certainly don't wait for you to get back up there. As you look at the SEC and last night, who were you maybe most impressed with? Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I picked Tennessee to win the league. I thought they were about what I expected. From a defensive standpoint, they're going to be a top 5 team in the country defensively. Offensively, I think, the addition of a Dalton Connect and Jordan Gainey, that's going to help them be a little more consistent there this year. Will they still have those stretches that they're notorious for having? Probably. It'll happen at some point, because I think sometimes too it can get overblown a little bit because this is a pretty good defensive league. But I think those two guys will help them be better offensively. And I mean, just think about it, right? You get Zakai Ziegler back. I didn't know when he was coming back, but we learned but I guess Monday, Sunday, something like that he'd be back. So that was a huge boost. You win a game where Vescovy scores 2 points, you win by 40. No, it's Tennessee Tech, but still, I mean, that shows, I think you've got some options offensively there. So I was really impressed with Tennessee. Arkansas, probably the deepest team. Muss is out there. I thought they looked really good. Their 2 transfers, Shamon Mark and Khalif Battle, they were fantastic. Already made more threes in a game this year than they did all of last year. They hit 12 in that one. So 3-point shooting will improve. And then I think you just kind of have those teams you sort of project near the top: Kentucky, Alabama. I thought Missouri looked good again, just offensively and what they can do. And so I wouldn't say there's a ton of surprises around the league or anything like that, but I thought the teams at the top you expected to be there. They sort of handled their business last night. So.
Who are you least impressed with?
Well, I mean, unfortunately, I think the easy answer is probably Ole Miss, because, they scored 69 points and won by 10 against Alabama State. And I don't. It's probably not Ole Miss's fault, because, I mean, they recruited a team that they're not going to have the full team, it looks like. And I think that is where, Brandon Murray, which we know, guys. I mean, Brandon Murray started his career at LSU. Double-digit score there, goes to Georgetown, double-digit score there, now transfers to Ole Miss, but it just doesn't sound like he's going to get the waiver. And if he doesn't, that puts a lot of pressure on this team that was already probably going to be good but not great offensively. And so it puts a lot still on Matthew Morrell, which it's like, rinse and repeat. We feel like we've been saying the same thing for him several years there. And so without him and, Moussa Cisse, great defensive player too, he doesn't have a waiver either. So it's going to be a bit of a grind, I think, for Chris Beard in year one, especially offensively. They'll play defense because we know his teams do, but Ole Miss is probably the team you could pick out just because, and not just because they won by the fewest points, but I think offensively it's going to be a struggle unless they get Brandon Murray in there. So,
is Grant Nelson the early favorite for SEC Player of the Year after last night? Dude looked unstoppable.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's going to be right there, because, I mean, like you said, you just look at there's a reason why so many people wanted him. And, it came down to Alabama and Arkansas, and it just felt like he was going to fit perfect with what Nate Oates wanted to do there. And, Yeah, I mean, you look at the way he plays and, defensively, I think that was everybody always tries to find the things you can pick apart in the preseason. That was the one thing I said. I said, I just want to see defensively adjusting to the SEC and all that. And we still don't know because we're not playing SEC games yet. But offensively, there are not many questions about this guy. He's going to lead them in points. He's probably going to lead them in rebounds. And if he can continue to kind of block shots at a good rate, yeah, I mean, sometimes it's hard when you're projecting like all SEC teams and all that, and you've got guys that are transferring up, even as talented as they are. You can look back though and say, man, look at all these great returners that are coming back. And how do you put this guy over some of these guys who've already proven it in the SEC? But you could see it with Grant Nelson. He's going to come in and be just fine because he's playing in Nate Oates' system. And we know what that looks like at its best. And you kind of saw that for the most part last night against Morehead State.
Vanderbilt fans can't be too excited to look down at Baton Rouge and see that Jordan Wright had 12 points in 20 minutes with 4 steals, 3 boards, couple of assists in LSU's win over Mississippi Valley.
Yeah, look, everybody has their opinions, as we know, but like I never understood sort of I don't know, love-hate at times. It seemed like that fans had with Jordan Wright. I just thought he was such an important part of what they did last season.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I just, yeah, and that's why I thought him going to LSU was huge for them because, that's a team that struggled. They struggled really. I mean, they were bad offensively last year. There's no other way to put it. But they were bad in a lot of areas last year. That's why you're a 2-16 team in the league. And so I think he's someone that, you can kind of use in a lot of different ways because he's got a bunch of different skills that he brings to the table, both offensively and defensively. And I thought he was just he was the most important pickup, I think, for that team. Now, of course, Will Baker led them in scoring last night, the Nevada transfer and all that. But I think Jordan Wright's going to wind up being the most important pickup for that team because he's got the experience. You can look around the league and just see, it's teams that have older guys that are experienced. That's why we talk about it's invaluable that a Josiah Jordan-James returns to Tennessee. It's invaluable that a Devo Davis returns to Arkansas. But having a guy like Jordan Wright play as many games he had in the SEC, that's huge for an LSU team that they ain't got a lot of guys on the roster that played in the SEC a lot. And so I think he's going to have a great year there. And I don't know if that gets them out of I don't know if he's enough. And even with the guys he has around him, I don't know if it's enough to get them out of the bottom 4 of the SEC. But I do think they will be have a little bit more of a punch offensively than they did last year. And that'll give them a chance to win a few more games probably.
Blake Lovell at the Blake Lovell on Twitter or X with Southeastern 14 joining us here on Main Street Sports today. Blake, you talk about guys that have played a lot of ball in this conference. One who has not, who really had an impact at Rupp Arena last night. I tweeted last night, somebody said something about TJ Ford's son playing for Incarnate Word, and I tweeted as if I needed another reminder that I'm getting old. Well, Jeff Shepard's son, Reed, scored 12 points in his Kentucky debut, going 4 of 6 from the floor, 3 of 3 from the line, knocked down a 3, and just was all over the floor in their win over whoever it was. They never play anybody tough in their opener. But, what is he going to mean to that program just from an intangible standpoint, being a legacy, that kind of thing?
Yeah, I mean, when we talked about the game this morning, I said, if you're trying to identify one player that I think Kyle's going to have a really hard time keeping off the floor, and I know it's one game, but it's Reed Shepherd. And he was, people were not talking about him hardly at all in the offseason. They were just and that's the way it works with Kentucky. So you just get, you get all these guys and they all are, top 5, 7, 8, 10. And sometimes it's just, okay, we'll take the guy with the highest number. And of course, Justin Edwards very likely could be the number 1 pick in the draft next year. And so it's easy to kind of focus in on that. But I think what's going to make this team go is a guy like Reed Shepherd. And, if you watch that entire game, what you saw was not just a guy who's adding the scoring, which his dad did too, but it's also like it's the stuff that does not just show up stats based stuff. Like he had 2 steals, he had a couple assists, but if you watch him out there on the floor, what he brings in terms of like you could see the offensive awareness, you could see the defensive awareness, always seem to be at the right place, the right time, having an opportunity to get a steal, put someone else in a position to make a stop. He's just kind of that, I don't know, glue guy. Sometimes it's hard to kind of pinpoint that and say he's just that, but I think he's going to play a lot of minutes for Kentucky because he just, to me, looks like the kind of guy that, like you said, it just seems to be there. Like he's the kind of guy that should be playing for Kentucky. Like if Cal's going to kind of get this thing going back in the right direction, he's the kind of guy you got to have on the floor. And so I think when you have him and you surround him with all the talent that's there, and remember, they've got 3 basically 6'11", 7-foot guys that aren't even playing right now due to injuries or eligibility stuff. If they get those 3 guys back and you add them to the mix of the guys we saw last night in a 40-point win over New Mexico State, I mean, Kentucky's their stock's going to rise pretty quickly because this could be, I'm saying could be because we've seen what's happened in recent years. It could be the most complete team he's had there if the big guys get back from injuries and everybody's good to go.
Blake, I was having a conversation last night with my buddies, and it was before the game started, which means that Alabama fans in the chat were not ready for a Final Four run, but until after 5 minutes of play. But we had a number in mind of teams capable of making the Sweet 16 or farther in the Southeastern Conference. How many teams have that capability, do you feel like?
Well, I mean, Tennessee, like I said, I think is in that category right now. I feel great about that. Arkansas, I mean, it's like you bet on Arkansas to get to the Sweet 16 at this point because they do it every year, or at least they have the last 3 years. And this may be the deepest team Muss has had, like I said. So I don't know how I couldn't put them in there. Kentucky, if they get the big guys back, like I just mentioned, I find a hard reason to keep them out of there. A&M, we didn't really talk about them because they just kind of had a usual, 30-something point win, hold the team under 50 points. That's what A&M does. But, I mean, I think that the one thing about A&M, and this is something we've been tracking, is like the Julius Marble situation. Buzz Williams said he was away from the team. I think it was university matter, which you never know on that kind of stuff. You don't know what that means. I think they need him back to probably get there and have kind of their full potential. But even if not, I'd still put them in the category just because they got maybe the best player in the league in Wade Taylor and a lot of good stuff around him. So that's 4 right there. And then I think Alabama, it certainly has a shot, 5. And then, I mean, realistically, I think you're looking at teams like Auburn, which Auburn plays tonight. They'll play Baylor, and we'll learn a lot about them, I think, in game 1. Can Auburn be on that same trajectory? I mean, they've got my pick for the preseason player of the year in Janai Broome. So they brought in some shooting, I think, around him. So that will help too. And then it's like, I think what you do from there. So if you got 6 teams, say you take 6 teams from that group, I think they're all Sweet 16 caliber type teams. Then it's like, okay, you're picking from that group of Mississippi State, Florida, Missouri, teams like that you really say, all right, they're kind of that sleeper type team maybe for people. And can they get there in the right setting? Sure they can from a talent standpoint. But surefire lock type teams that could get there and feel pretty confident about, I think it's probably 5 to 6. So
that's pretty close. You mentioned it though. The team that we all thought had the best chance to go to the Final Four is Arkansas.
Yeah.
Simply because Eric Musselman may be the best tournament coach that we've ever seen in the SEC. Dude's legitimately good with maybe not as talented teams, but knows how to win in March. Yeah.
I mean, and I feel like it kind of started here in Nashville because if you remember, that was what year was that? It's either 17, 18, or 19. I don't know why I can't remember which one, but I think it was 18. That's the year they played here in the first round of the tournament. They played Texas, they played Cincinnati, and they had those 2 just dramatic comebacks in both of those games. And I feel like since that point on, anytime Muss has been in the NCAA tournament, the guy just pushes all the right buttons. And yeah, I mean, he's been doing that. I mean, you knock off Kansas last year, you get to the Elite Eight back-to-back years, the 2 prior ones. So yeah, and I think it's the thing about Arkansas. It's 3 things to me, and it's the combination of it's the oldest team he's had there. They're much older than they were last year. Last year they were heavily relying on 2 freshmen, relying on Nick Smith, Anthony Black. Of course, Smith was injured a lot of the year. Anthony Black played, but still, that's a lot of pressure to put everything kind of on those 2 guys. And then, you add the age factor. It's the deepest team. Like I said, I think they're 9-10 deep and kind of the way we see it play out. And then I just think it's, again, just sort of the pedigree of what they have there and everything that he's kind of built roster-wise. Muss is one of those guys you give the benefit of the doubt to when it comes to compiling a roster in the transfer era, because he was kind of one of the first guys to really do it effectively. And so it's working out for him now. Experience. I think that is invaluable, as we've seen in the NCAA tournament in recent years. Teams that are winning are experienced. They're teams that are doing it that way. And so, yeah, I think they're going to have a real good shot. So,
man, great stuff, Blake, as always. Look forward to talking to you throughout the season. And, it's going to be a good night of basketball. Again, Vanderbilt and Auburn both on the court tonight. So we'll look forward to those as well. But we appreciate you taking some time with us, man, and look forward to seeing more on Southeastern 14.
Yep, always enjoy it, guys. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Blake.
We'll take a quick break. When we come back, we'll talk a little more basketball. We'll react to some upsets from last night and local results. So stick around. Main Street Sports Today is presented by Mid-Tennessee Bar and Joint. Back after this. Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net.
With Lee Company technology, the best handymen are hands-off. Lee Company techs have been using visual findings and other smart technology tools for years to add transparency and virtually take customers along. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on a roof. With Lee Company, technology helps us help you, no matter what's happening in the world or at your house.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50-plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, zioneagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's zioneagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today. Mockingbird Title and Escrow is an attorney-owned and operated full-service title company in Middle Tennessee. We get your deals closed without worry and fuss. We're a family business that offers the highest level of expertise in our industry when it comes to closing and funding your real estate transactions.
And it's a job I really love. I'm passionate about this. I'm enthusiastic about this. I like to think we're pretty well rounded and can deal with a wide range of needs and a wide range of clients.
Call 615-274-8698 today.
Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Murray County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic service, and our Ortho Quick Walk-In Clinic lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net.
Welcome back again, Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint, live from the Lee Company studio here in Columbia, and talking hoops still, as honestly, maybe 2 of the biggest upsets in basketball last night, one on the men's side, one on the women's side, as top-ranked defending national champion LSU goes down to Colorado, and Rick Stockstill goes – not Rick Stockstill, Rick Insel.
Wrong Rick.
Yeah, well, it is going – I could have told you this might happen.
Where was that, in Baton Rouge?
I don't know if it was in Vegas or if it was in Baton Rouge. That I don't know. LSU was wearing white uniforms, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything.
No. It was in Vegas.
Vegas, okay. Still,
92-78.
92-6. It wasn't even close. It was a dominant performance from the Lady Buffs.
I'd be interested to know how many threes they hit. Because I think they're still knocking them down against MTSU.
3-pointers, 10 of 23, 43.5%.
They cooled off.
A little bit.
I don't know. I think this is more a function of Colorado's probably playing with a boatload of confidence after what they did last year, and they're pretty good. I think it's more a function of that than of anything negative regarding LSU, although, you know, the court of public opinion is going to tell you, and I'm I'm no Kim Mulkey apologist, but there are a lot of people out there that feel like for whatever reason, and the people that feel that way aren't looking at Kim, feel like LSU got their comeuppance last night.
Yeah, I don't know. All I know is that Colorado proved that it was no fluke.
I don't know
Last
that
year.
anybody thought they were, but yeah.
And so you gotta be impressed with what Colorado did. And like I said, Rick Insell sitting there going,
I ain't shocked.
nope, not surprised in the least to see that happen. Couple of really big performances from Frida Foreman, who is a Naismith Award watch lister, and had a great night. On the LSU side, they had some really good ones too. I mean, Haley Van Lith, I wonder how much, you know, is that they just don't have a lot of depth. LSU, you know, they've got a great front five. I mean, Angel Reese, you know, Haley Van Lith, Michaela Williams, Samaya Smith, very good players.
Flau'jae Johnson, the returning SEC freshman of the year.
Who only scored 3 points.
Well,
And that right there tells you, you know, kind of the kind of night that LSU had. You know what I mean? I mean, they've only got they may be 6 deep right now. They've got 8 who played double-digit minutes, but I'm not sure that that's a deep 8. I think that's a necessary 8.
I wonder, you know, when you bring a player like a Haley Van Lith in, who was, gender aside, the man pretty much at Louisville, you know, how do you integrate all that talent? Anissa Morrow, I think she transferred from DePaul, maybe? I mean, for all of the positives about the transfer portal and that kind of thing, I just don't know how you get everybody integrated.
No, that's kind of that's the tough part. You know, when you are as talented as they are, but it's not a group of players who have been together, know each other, trust each other, etc. You know, maybe Haley Van Lith says, well, I've got to get mine because I'm still trying to get to the WNBA. And Angel Reese says, I got to get mine too. So let's, you know, hey, by the way. And then Flau'jae's over there like, don't forget about me, SEC Freshman of the Year. And so and it's interesting that you say that, because as I look at the statistics here, team assists, 13
assists
to 24 for Colorado. So I think that could end up being a problem early.
Now,
probably gets better as the season goes on and they start trusting one another.
You don't win a damn thing on November 6th.
Nope. You can lose though. Michigan State found out, but Yeah, I know you don't win anything in November, and that's okay. Now,
What's
Jerry
that saying?
Stackhouse will tell you that November matters,
Well, yeah. Oh, I mean,
but I don't think LSU
Colorado isn't Southern
Yeah, and LSU's
or
not gonna have that
Grambling.
problem.
Yeah, and I mean, and again, it's early, man. And Colorado's no slouch.
Right. So I think you got to take that into consideration a little bit. Is both,
I don't think Don Staley saw this result and went,
no,
ain't got to worry about them no more. No. So
I don't think so either. I'm with you. Like I said, you said earlier, James Madison goes into Michigan State and gets a win, and he's
so here's the thing. Apparently, Tom Izzo's nephew plays for James Madison.
Oof.
So I mean, I don't know if that was I don't know if somebody was doing somebody a favor by scheduling that game, but I'm thinking if Tom Izzo had it to do again, maybe he wouldn't.
Well, it's not the game you really want to schedule on opening night, but
I don't know if it's a game you want to schedule at all.
yeah, I mean, they're playing.
Oh, his nephew is an assistant at JMU.
That's even worse. Yeah, I mean, the only problem that I have with this is that, I was touting Tennessee's 2-point win over the number 4 team on the road, and now it just looks like we didn't even beat them as bad as James Madison did. You know what I mean? So, and that's kind of what we talked about with Joe Sullivan last week, was how even outside of Kansas, everything just seems kind of
muddled.
Who knows?
Mm-hmm. Well, but here's the thing. I don't know who Michigan State is going to beat when they go 1 for 20 from behind the arc.
Nobody.
Or 23 of 37 from the line. 23 of 37. They're called free throws for a reason.
That's rough.
You went 23 of 37 from the free throw line and you lost by 3.
That'll get you beat.
I wonder what they're doing in practice today. Shooting free throws, maybe?
Yeah, no doubt. That's a tough loss. Additionally, though, I think you got to be impressed, like I said, with Middle, and we'll talk about them in a little bit.
Well, hang on a minute. According to ESPN.com, Izzo's nephew, Matt Buckland, is an assistant at James Madison, a Sun Belt program that won its second ever game over a ranked opponent after losing 42 of its previous 43 such matchups. Buckland's mom is Izzo's sister. Izzo booked James Madison for its season opener in part because of his nephew's role with the team. Well, and that won't happen again. No, go ahead.
Belmont struggled a little bit with Georgia State, and Sunbelt had a pretty good night, to be honest with you.
Yeah, but Malik Dia didn't struggle.
Well, and the other kid, I was trying to look up, I thought I saw Landon Sechrist post a picture with there was another kid, the Cade
Tyson.
That's it. Had a great night as well. But I mean, you score 89 points. A lot of folks are going to have good nights offensively. It's the defensive side that Casey Alexander is not going to be too pleased with.
Right.
So, got to be impressed though with the way that Belmont scored. And it's the opening night. You don't necessarily expect to just get when you're a G5 team, I say G5, whatever, but when you're a mid-major team, you don't expect to, if you're playing another mid-major, it's going to be a dogfight.
Right.
That team comes into your place feeling like they can beat you. They don't care who you are. And, that's kind of what you saw last night at Kurt. So, but yeah, Malik Dia, 24 and 4, 10 of 15 from the floor.
He's going to be a difference maker, man.
And Jacoby Gillespie in his debut, 17 and 8 with 7 assists.
He's
No,
sophomore.
he's sophomore.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought he redshirted last year for some reason.
No,
Maybe
he
I didn't
played.
realize he played. 17, 8, and 7. You'll take every time.
All day.
So, well done from Belmont, and
I'm looking forward to seeing Vanderbilt get on the floor tonight and just to see what they put out there against Presbyterian. And this is a game that shouldn't be an issue, but I'm sure we said that at various points last year.
yeah. Well, I think there's a little difference, like we said, going into this season from what Jerry Stackhouse was his mindset last year.
Mhm.
Before we get to this break, we have to give a major shout out to Karen Booker again, who
Friend of the show.
first,
Karen Booker.
hey, look, I mean, Trevecca playing on ESPN Plus, they don't get a lot of chances to do that,
Took advantage of it.
and took full advantage in the second quarter. That's where they won the game. 21-7 outscored Austin P.
Former Macon County standout Keely Carter with how many?
A bunch.
Mhm.
37. A great night.
That was her Nuke LaLoosh announcing her presence with authority game.
19 of 20 from the stripe.
Tom Izzo would have taken that.
She takes it to the hole, she draws the foul, and she makes you pay when she gets to the line. So a fantastic night for the Lady Trojans, and you got to be impressed with what they did. And look, I know that Austin P fans are probably upset today, and certainly understandable. But this is a Division II tournament team, and not just that, they are going to be much better this year than even last year. That's a really good team they just lost to, and I fully expect Trevecca to be competing. Now, I don't think they're going to go up to Ashland and get any wins against, the defending national champs or anything. But this team is going to compete at a very high level this year, and you would be remiss if you did not get over to see them and play this year, because it's going to be a lot of fun to watch. All right, we need to take a break. Terry McCormick standing by. Stick around. Titans report right after this.
He shoots and he scores!
Since 1975, Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint Clinic has treated the orthopedic needs of Middle Tennessee residents. The trained physicians provide surgical options and minimally invasive options to treat all orthopedic needs. The walk-in clinic, OrthoQuick, helps you bypass the ER while treating sports injuries and acute needs Monday through Saturday. Visit MTBJ online at mtbj.net or on social media at Mid-Tennessee Bone Joint Clinic. Terry McCormick, powered by Zen Sports. Terry, what's up?
Hey guys, how are you? It is your Daily Titans report, and it is powered as always by Zen Sports. Mike Vrabel, about 2 hours ago, made the announcement at his press conference that I think a lot of us expected, but still kind of comes as a little bit of a shock to the system, given that Ryan Tannehill has been the starter here for 4 years. But they're going forward with Will Levis, the rookie, as their starting quarterback for the remainder of the season.
It's kind of a sledgehammer to the forehead to hear it. I mean, because
Yeah, It kind of is because, the team had, kind of revolved around the Tannehill, Derrick Henry type offense for ever since basically Vrabel has gotten here almost. And now you're talking about a little bit, maybe not a change in philosophy, but a change in one of the key personnel guys there with Will Levis now at the controls. And I think that this is going to help open up deep passes. You saw what he did in his debut, hooking up 3 times with DeAndre Hopkins. I think this is going to help that. Now, that said, I don't think this one move is going to make the Titans a Super Bowl contender anytime soon. This is still a rookie quarterback who has a lot to learn about playing at the NFL level. There may be a day around the corner sometime this season where he's 12 of 22 for 100 yards with 2 interceptions. Those days are going to happen sometimes when you have a rookie. But I think in the brief amount of time that Will Levis has been at the controls of this offense, I think you've seen far more good than you have bad in terms of what he brings to the table. And the strong arm, while that may be impressive, I think the thing that I'm more impressed with is his ability to operate the huddle, get them set at the line of scrimmage, change plays when he needs to, all the things that you would expect to be a struggle for a rookie with very little playing time. But he seems to have a knack for it. In fact, I asked Nick Westbrook-Akina about his command in the huddle today, and he said that he's been very impressive because he doesn't, a lot of times rookie quarterbacks have the wristband that has the plays on it. He said Levis just knows what the plays are, knows what to call. So certainly a guy who's very polished for a limited amount of experience.
Yes, we know. That was the big news, by the way, that we alluded to earlier. That's what we were talking
That's
about.
pretty big.
In case y'all were wondering.
Yeah, in case you were wondering what the big news was,
That
wonder
was
no
it.
longer. Yeah. Terry, I guess the only concern, and obviously you just got to let it play out at this point, but we've kind of talked about this offensive line bears a lot of responsibility in this move.
Yeah, because we've seen that you can make a case that they're the cause of it because they're the ones that got Ryan Tannehill hurt in the first place the last 2 years. So certainly there's some culpability on the part of this line, and now they're going to be charged with having to keep Will Levis upright. I think it does benefit the Titans that Levis has such a quick release and is able to process information. And as they say, for lack of a better term, he's willing to let it rip in terms of throwing the football. And so I think that does help this line because they're not going to have to protect as long. He has some mobility, but at the same time, they cannot afford to let this guy be in harm's way too often because we've seen too many guys, whether it be David Carr back in the day with the Houston Texans or Tim Couch or even Marcus Mariota here after he broke his leg. We've seen too many guys get gun shy and shell shocked because of all the hits they've taken. In fact, I think there's probably some validity to it if you want to say Ryan Tannehill's decline. I think the offensive line play has had a part in that. So yes, this offensive line is still an issue and one that they've got to try and figure out sooner rather than later. Although I think it'll be the offseason before they have a chance to fully fix it.
Yeah, I don't think there's any question there. Unless Dylan Radins plays great, then who knows? But until then,
Who knows?
So, Terry, tell us about Zen Sports.
All right. Gladly tell you about Zen Sports. Hey, Nashville, you've been hearing me talk about Zen Sports, the new sports betting app exclusively in Tennessee the last few months, and I'm excited to share with you some big news. Now, when you sign up for a Zen Sports account, you will receive up to $1,000 no danger first waiver. That's right. When you place your first bet in Zen Sports, you can be reimbursed for the amount of your bet up to $1,000 maximum if the bet loses. And there's even more good news. Zen Sports is rolling out its brand new VIP rewards program. This new VIP rewards program will allow top-tier customers to earn even more bonuses, comps, and perks. The VIP program is by invite only, so if you feel your Zen Sports play qualifies for VIP consideration, please check out the program details and apply at zensports.com/VIP. No other sportsbook will offer you a premier sports betting experience with 24/7 top-tier customer support and faster withdrawals than Zen Sports. So what are you waiting for? Get going and download their app at zensports.com today. Zen Sports, betting just got better. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-889-9789. Terms and conditions apply. Must be 21 or older and in Tennessee to bet.
Smiles. These are the healthy smiles of real Delta Dental members. Folks with access to the nation's largest network of dentists and low-deductible plans with 100% preventive care coverage, all backed by over 65 years of expertise. Go online or give us a call to learn about affordable individual plans that meet your needs. 1-855-844-0445.
This is Chris Yao with Main Street Sports Today. Every show, Mo Patton and I welcome friends from all across the sports landscape, from high school coaches and reporters to national, college, and pro sports personalities. You never know who might stop by for a chat. AP Tennessee sports editor, three-time Tennessee Sports Writer of the Year 2020 TSWA Hall of Famer. She covers the Titans, the Predators, the Grizzlies, college football, and hoops. Please make welcome Teresa Walker.
Former University of Tennessee, former Team USA Olympian, ex-Cy Young Award winner, R.A. Dickey. R.A., did I miss anything?
Man, that was sweet. Yeah, I need to listen to that before I go to bed every night. That was nice.
Has 5 sports Emmys. That's not bad for the other guy in Wham, Ryan McGee.
The other guy in Wham married the best-looking girl, Bananarama, so the other guy in Wham had a pretty good life.
From preps to pros, we're taking on the sports topics you care about. Tune in across Main Street Media social platforms at 2 p.m. or on demand on your podcast distribution platform of choice.
Welcome back in Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Chris Yao, Mo Patton. On this Top 5 Tuesday, Top 5 sports scandals still to come. Now, though, we go to the Borough, where the voice of the Blue Raiders standing by is Chip Walters after a much-needed vacation from us last week. He is back and well-rested because it's not like he had anything else to do over the weekend or last night, right?
Any reason you mentioned sports scandals just before you brought me on?
Yeah, you got you're scandalous.
There you go. There you go. Chip, we missed you last week, man.
You know, well, I appreciate that. I appreciate that. And
notice he didn't say I miss y'all too. You noticed that?
I did, but you know, it was 2 weeks ago I was with you from said beach, and last week I had a little medical procedure, and so that all went well. And
did everything come out all right?
Everything came out well. So we're moving forward. So and had a fun overall trip to the El Paso Las Cruces area. You know, really good football game. Went down to the last play with a throw into the end zone. Just didn't get the outcome. And you know, it was a really frustrating, and it's been a frustrating year. And Coach Stock, talks about that and it admits that, and it's been frustrating to not be able to get, a great offensive performance on the field with a great defensive performance. The last 2 weeks, you've had one of each. Two games ago, the offense has one of its best games of the year at Liberty on the road and puts up 38 points, but it's not good enough because the defense gives up 400 yards rushing. Then this past weekend, the defense holds New Mexico State, a team that has championship game aspirations and bowl eligibility opportunities, to 17 points below their season average, but can only muster 7 points on offense. So it has been one or the other, it seems, week in and week out. And here Middle is looking on the outside of bowl eligibility, looking in, knowing that you've had 4 games that were 1 score or less, that none went your way. So, you're right now at 2-7. You could be 6-3, and with not that much things going differently in any of those 4 games. But it is what it is, and you are what you are, and you're 2-7 with 3 games left to play. 2 of them are at home against FIU this week, which is the 41st annual Salute to Veterans and Armed Services. Next week will be Senior Day against UTEP, and then the Blue Raiders will wind up the season on the road in Huntsville, Texas, to take on Sam Houston. And all along with that, the overlap as of last night has officially begun.
Chris, peanut butter, no jelly.
Mm-hmm.
Ham, no burger.
That's the way it goes.
Kool-Aid, no sugar. Right.
Always got one thing and not
the other.
Not the other.
Yeah. Chip, it's Tuesday coming off the Saturday loss. I don't know that you've been around the team a lot in the last 48 hours or so, but when you realize that all you're doing is playing the last 3 games, there's no bowl out there for you. What is the mood? What is the mindset?
Well, the 2 guys that I have been around have been Nick Vattiato and Trey Fluellen, 2 of the captains of the football team. And, I think one of the things that if you are a football player, you work 350 days a year probably to play 12 games. You only get 12 chances to do that. And why would you let any of them be less than a stellar effort, no matter what your situation is? If you love the game of football, then you're going to go out and play. And I think yesterday's press conference with Vattiato and Fluellen involved, they both talked about that the tone for what was left of the year and left of the season was addressed at Sunday practice, and that they don't have any reservation of thinking that this team is going to do anything less than play as hard as it's played all year. And that goes back to kind of what we were talking about, is that it's one thing if this was not a decent football team, but the thing is they have, they almost went to Missouri and won, and they had a 23-7 lead on Jacksonville State at halftime. Should have been 30-7 if not for just a complete drop on a touchdown pass. Same thing, Colorado State. You have a lead at half and give that up in the second half, and you had the lead in the late third, early fourth quarter at Liberty. So this is not a bad team. It is a team that has had issues at bad times throughout the year, and it's just they've taken the league's best, which right now are Liberty, Jacksonville State, and New Mexico State. They've taken them right to the wire in all 3 games. So it is frustrating, and that's the part, because this is going to end up being a shoulda, woulda, coulda year, because you had all the shoulda, woulda, couldas and just could not take advantage of them.
Yeah, you're exactly right. I mean, it seems like they've been on the on the verge, but not able to get over that hump. And that's a tough end to the bowl hopes.
Yeah,
with a 13-7 loss at New Mexico State.
Yeah, and with the last play of the game being, the last two plays of the game were throws into the end zone with a chance to win it on the last two plays of the game, and now the thing is, you look at as leaders, the five captains, you don't want to end this thing with a bad taste in your mouth. Even though you're not going to go bowling this year, you have the opportunity to at least go into the off season with some momentum. If you can take care of things in the last three games, you've got an opportunity to end up 5-7 on the year and be on an uptick going into signing day, winter workouts, and more than that. So I think that's where they are right now, and I think that's kind of at this point of what has where it is. I think that has to be the mindset, and that's got to be where they are at this point.
No question. And the good thing is that you're not going to get a Bahamas Bowl invite and have to go to Charlotte.
Well,
there's a bright side.
Yeah, I mean, there's the good thing is there's a lot. There's a lot of Bojangles in Charlotte, so that's not a bad thing either. I kind of expected originally. I didn't think it quite through, but when I heard that the Bahamas Bowl was going to have to move out of the Bahamas for a year because of stadium renovations at Robinson National Stadium, I thought FIU is the closest place that doesn't have a bowl game, but it makes sense because that bowl game is an ESPN owned bowl, and with the ESPN sub headquarters being in Charlotte, North Carolina, it makes a lot of sense. If they're going to move it somewhere, that's where it was going to be. So
it makes a lot of sense unless you were going to the Bahamas and now you're going to Charlotte, North Carolina.
Yeah, I mean,
it makes sense for ESPN. I don't know how much sense
that's what I'm saying. Exactly, it makes sense to them, and because they've got a ton of employees there, and their remote equipment and all that. So it'll help them, as for 1 year to do it this way.
Yeah.
Anyway,
poor kids.
Oh man. Well,
good news, you're going to the Bahamas Bowl. Bad news, you're going to Charlotte, North Carolina.
Okay. You guys got an invite to the Bahamas Bowl. Yeah, it's played in Charlotte. What?
Yeah.
Oh man. Well,
the Maui Invitational during COVID was played in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. You talk about a kick in the rear end.
That's rough.
And the fill in the blanks. Yes.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, Chip. Let's turn to brighter thoughts.
Yeah. Better news.
Brighter thoughts.
Great start to basketball season last night.
Yes.
In
tell us
great
more.
fashion.
Well, the Lady Raiders beat the brakes off Memphis, 67-47, and only played 6 players to do that. Anastasia Boldreva had a double-double. And she was, I think last night was a great example of what she has done with her body to get stronger. She's been 6'5", but sometimes it was that, that stick version of being 6'5". She's put on some muscle. Savannah Wheeler had a Savannah Wheeler-esque game, 17 points. Jalen Gregory, only 12 points, 1 of 8 from the field, but she was 10 of 10 at the free throw line. Tamia Scott, I think, is the X factor on this team, who has earned herself a starting nod, and with 38 minutes last night, had 8 points, 10 rebounds. Courtney Whitson, very Courtney Whitson-esque night, 5 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists for Courtney, the grad student. And Yulia Grabovskaya, she was the lone player off the bench last night for Coach Rick Ensel's ball club. And Memphis played let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 different players in the ball game. And Memphis did a really good job on the boards, but they just could not score last night. They ended up shooting 26.8% from the field, and give Middle a lot of credit defensively for that. The Blue Raiders shot 45% from the field, 60% from three, or no, that 18%. Now make that 19% for the game, and 40% from the field for the game. But Middle shot 24 of 27 at the free throw line, 89% as a team, and really showed just a lot of firepower early, and Memphis just could not keep up.
Chip, the 6 players, was that by design, or are they dealing with some injury / sickness early on, or what was the motivation there?
If you've watched Coach Insel, rarely does it ever get over 7, maybe 8. I don't know. I kind of expected them to play about 8 last night, but I think he wanted to have an impressive win, and they'll play again on Thursday morning for the school day game against FAMU. But I don't know. I mean, I don't think there was anything wrong. I just think that's just kind of par for the course of what Coach Insel does. He has that trust factor with X number of players, and that's what he's going to stick with for a long time.
Trying to pull something up here, and the website is not cooperating with.
Well, last night you had Savannah Wheeler and Jalen Gregory each played 40. Courtney Whitson played 39. Anastasia Boldreva and Tamia Scott each played 38 minutes, and Yulia Grabovskaya played 5. And so those are your only bench minutes last night. Were just 5.
Iron Man basketball, huh?
There you go. And they'll play FAMU on Thursday, and then they'll play Princeton on Sunday, which that's kind of one they've got circled on the calendar. And then after that, they will, after the Princeton game, they will go to the Bahamas the weekend before Thanksgiving, and we'll tip that event off with Michigan. And so don't know what kind of scouting report Michigan may have on the Lady Raiders, but we'll certainly have to see. Had to throw that in there. So.
No doubt. But they are actually going to the Bahamas, right? Not to Charlotte.
Correct. They will be. They're playing at Atlantis. The men on their trip to the Bahamas Thanksgiving weekend are playing at the Baha Mar event, which and so there'll be two women's tournaments going on down there at the same time, and 2 men's tournaments going on at the same time. So the women's tournaments are the weekend before Thanksgiving. The men's tournaments are the weekend of Thanksgiving. But the men did some work last night, big time, and they've got some work coming up. This is a sneaky, tough schedule that Nick McDevitt has put together for the men.
I'm not sure how sneaky it is, Chip.
Yeah, no.
Well, I mean,
most people know it ain't. It's tough.
I think sometimes fans don't understand. I mean, if it doesn't have a Power 5 name beside it, sometimes. But last night, Northern Kentucky picked to win the Horizon League. Middle led by 24 at halftime. They end up winning by 17, and really were hitting. The first half was about as perfect as you could play. Not much to Nick McDevitt said on his postgame show last night on the way to the locker room. He asked Wes Long, he goes, what do I need to tell him? He said, just keep going. And so now they turn around and they'll play Stephen F. Austin, who won last night as well. And Stephen F. Austin is picked to be number 2 in the WAC. And then on Monday, Western Carolina comes to town, who's picked to win the Southern Conference. So it is some mid-major madness going on here in the early season with the men's team.
Mid-major madness. You copywriting that?
No, there's a Twitter handle out there that has some really good stuff. If you don't follow them, you ought to. But here's the flip side of the coin. We talked about Coach Insel's philosophy in playing. He really kind of kept it close to the vest. Had 6 players play. Middle played 11 last night, and got scoring from 9 of those. The most anybody played. Cam Weston played 34 minutes, and then after that, Elias King and played 28. Jacob Johnson, newcomer from Long Island University out of the transfer portal, played 28 off the bench. Justin Porter played 27. Jared Coleman-Jones played 21. And Chris Loof, true freshman center, the Red Rocket, played 13 minutes last night. And Middle has 3 centers that they were able to play. So Coleman-Jones started, played 21 minutes. Loof played 13. And Josh Ogundelli, Big Jelly out of the transfer from Iowa, he played 6 minutes and grabbed a couple of rebounds. So they were able to really keep those guys rested.
Say that for me one more time. Josh
Ogundelli.
Ogundelli.
And
Okay.
Ogundelli rhymes with his nickname Jelly.
I caught that. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Hey, I thought about you during the Georgia game Saturday. Who were they playing Saturday? Georgia, and who did Georgia beat?
Missouri.
Football. Yeah. When the big lineman
basketball, they lost last night.
No, when the lineman had an interception and was looking like he was going to get a thick 6.
Almost a thick 6. Yeah,
yes,
big man with the ball.
Yeah, big man touchdown. Yeah. Ogundelli only 6 minutes. Did you expect more, or was that
not a whole lot? I think he has been since he got here from Iowa. They've really worked to. He came in at like 320, and I'm not sure where he is right now. They were hoping to get him down around 290, 285, and also and so I think you'll probably see his minutes continue along, but right now Jared Coleman-Jones is kind of he's the ringleader of those 3. Chris Loof can really run the floor at 6'11", and had a tip dunk last night on a rebound, and he does a good job getting up and down. One of the real stories from last night was Jalen Jordan. It had been Jalen came to Middle 3 years ago from St. Francis. No, this is his 5th year here from St. Francis. So he came here 4 years ago. And in that time, he had first of all, he had to sit out a year, and then getting ready for his first season, blew out an ACL, had to have surgery, and was out that year. And then had another getting ready to start last season, had another ACL injury on the opposite leg, had to have surgery. So it had been 971 days since he had played in a college basketball game, and has been around, done his rehab. He's graduated from college. He's in grad school now, but he played last night, and it was almost like DeAndre Dishman's situation, as long as he had sat out with 2 injuries. But Jalen, we had him on the post game last night, and he talked about, his motivation was that he loves to play basketball. It's been his life. He loves his brothers that he has grown to know and love at Middle, and he said he owed it to himself and his family to get to this point where to where he was back and able to play college basketball. So really proud of him last night.
That's impressive. Obviously, it takes a lot of resilience on his part to get through all of that and get back to the floor in a competitive situation. Chip, a quick perusal of this box score. Middle out rebounded by 7 in this win and still won by 17. Is that a concern for Coach McDevitt as he goes forward here?
Well, I mean, I think when you just look at it, obviously that is something that does get your attention. But I don't know that he's overly concerned with it. I think it was just kind of, it never, I will say this, in the flow of the game, it never felt like Middle was getting torched on the boards. It never really felt that way. And you go back, if you look at the women's box score from last night, check offensive rebounds, how many offensive rebounds Memphis got, and really could not manage to score. I think they feel like with the size that they have and the length they have, that the rebounding will be there. They were pretty tickled to be dead even on assists and turnovers, having 12 of each last night, and had 4 blocks and 10 steals in the ball game. So they felt really good about that. And I'm telling you, in the first half, it was the defensive job that Middle put on NKU. Their Middle's length really bothered them, and there was just really nowhere for them to operate. And I think that's something that they're going to hang their hat on. Matter of fact, in the second half, Northern Kentucky just simply got away from running their regular offense and just put it in the hands of Vincent and Warwick and just had them go to the basket, see what they could do. And that's how they had a little mini run in the second half. But really, it was a really, really good night defensively.
It looks like it's going to be a really, really good night defensively for a lot this season for both men and women. So I think Middle showed last night against 2 really solid opponents that this is going to be a fun year, and that folks need to be making plans to get to the Glass House.
Boy, I'll tell you, it is going to be fun, and both play really good home schedules. So, again, this Thursday, Middle women play FAMU at 10:30 a.m. There will be about 9,000 elementary school kids from Rutherford County. And
bring your earplugs, right?
Yeah, but I mean, the energy in the building is unbelievable on these games. And then Middle and Stephen F. Austin. Here's a little tidbit. This will be the 3rd straight year that Middle and Stephen F. Austin have played, and this will be the 3rd straight year that neither team had anything to do with scheduling each other. 2 years ago, Middle stopped and played at Stephen F. Austin as part of the Cancun Challenge. Then last year, they ended up playing each other in Canada in that event, that MTE that they were in there. And then this year, this is part of the Baja Mar event. No, this game is part of the Conference USA WAC Challenge. Yeah. So again, they will play for 3 straight years, and never did anybody make a phone call to schedule the game.
That's amazing. Well,
that's wild.
It is what it is. Chip, always a pleasure, always fun. Thanks for getting us up to date. And we had to go a little bit over because we didn't talk to him last week, so we had to catch up.
Yes,
so
absolutely.
We appreciate you doing that, and appreciate you keeping us abreast. We will look forward to seeing you again next week.
All right. Thank you, boys.
Thanks, Chip.
All right. We'll take a break. When we come back, college football playoffs and James Madison. What do they have to do with each other? We'll talk about it.
Twice in one show.
Yeah. Stick around.
Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net. Custom Stone Handlers supplies over 600 distributors and suppliers with quality stone products. Along with River Stone, we produce and distribute over 100 building, landscape, and other bulk products. Our goal is to provide quality products, service, and partnerships to ensure our customers' success. We firmly believe that the measure of any person or company is how they treat other people and customers. Give them a call at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com. Mockingbird Title and Escrow is an attorney-owned and operated full-service title company in Middle Tennessee. We get your deals closed without worry and fuss. We're a family business that offers the highest level of expertise in our industry when it comes to closing and funding your real estate transactions.
And it's a job I really love. I'm passionate about this. I'm enthusiastic about this. I like to think we're pretty well rounded and can deal with a wide range of needs and a wide range of clients.
Call 615-274-8698 today.
With Lee Company technology, the best handymen are hands-off. Lee Company techs have been using visual findings and other smart technology tools for years to add transparency and virtually take customers along. You see what we see, whether we're in a crawl space or on a roof. With Lee Company, technology helps us help you, no matter what's happening in the world or at your house.
Piggly Wiggly, located in Neely's Mill Shopping Center, is Columbia's locally owned and operated Cost Plus 10 grocery store dedicated to serving the community with low prices and smiling faces. Piggly Wiggly offers fresh, hand-cut meats daily as well as daily hot plate lunches from their deli counter. You're certain to see smiling faces and a helping hand when you're here at Piggly Wiggly. Come by and check out our fresh produce, high-quality meats, and more. Down home, down the street, we'll see you at the Pig.
Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Murray County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic service, and our Ortho Quick Walk-In Clinic lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net.
Yes, to answer your question, Justin, yes. Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint, back real quick to talk about the college football playoff and James Madison. Obviously, the college football playoff committee did not rank James Madison last week, probably won't rank them this week because they're not eligible for the college football playoff. The school has now sent another letter.
Another one.
To the NCAA requesting a waiver. And their argument this time is the rule was in place before the college football playoff existed, and along with it, in an addendum, they attached a spreadsheet that basically shows that they would likely be the highest ranked G5 team in the college football playoff rankings if they were eligible, and that, you know, it would cause them undue harm financially to not be able to participate in the college football playoff. And I don't think they're wrong. That being said,
Are they eligible for a bowl?
No, they can't even play for the conference championship. They're going to win their conference. They're going to be 9-0 and not be able to play for their conference. They're going to be 12-0 and not be able to play for their conference championship. Here's the thing the NCAA has to be concerned with.
Mm-hmm.
They give them a waiver. Say they grant the waiver tomorrow, then they lose. And now their college football playoff, their entire argument about being ranked in the college football playoff rankings is out the window because they lost.
Maybe that's what everybody's rooting for.
I think that's probably what the NCAA is rooting for. But, you know, you got to think, if they're granted a waiver, what's stopping other teams that were not granted waivers, such as Appalachian State, Georgia Southern, from suing the NCAA and saying, hey, we missed out on bowl money because you said no?
Undue financial harm.
What's stopping them from suing the NCAA for monies that they could have had?
Yeah, that's a Pandora's box.
But we're talking about a potentially undefeated team here, and James Madison not being able to play in the New Year's Six because of some ridiculous rule that says that they're not prepared to play at the FBS level. And
That's a tough sell right there. They're not prepared. They're not prepared.
They don't even have an FCS.
Yeah, imagine
team.
if they were.
They don't even have an FCS team on their schedule. They play 12 games against FBS opponents.
Who do they have left? Why not? Come on now.
I tried to pull up James Madison football, and the first thing that came up was
James Madison basketball.
UConn and App State, and
They're not going to lose to UConn.
and Coastal.
No, they could lose either of those last two.
App State's not very good this year. I mean, this particular year. So, I mean, but yeah, they could lose to either of those.
Mm-hmm.
Those are decent teams. They'll be favored in all three games.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, if you're the NCAA, you kind of run the risk of what happens now. That being said, I remember when James Madison was still in the FCS, and there were some teams that from their conference who were transitioning to the FBS, and James Madison voted not to let them participate in the postseason. And so some may say
rules for thee, but not for me, huh?
Some may say what goes around comes around. So I don't know. James Madison is a tricky situation for a lot. I mean, you gotta. I don't know. I mean, I think that they. I think.
Well, I mean, they have a solid argument, but at the same time, that deserves to be pointed out.
Rules are rules,
and I'm sure it will be.
Listen, if Jacksonville State were 10-0 with a win over South Carolina and not eligible to be able to play for a conference championship or potentially be ranked in the CFP rankings, I would be on top of the buildings yelling. I'd be in Indianapolis tomorrow. Like, I mean, banging on the doors. So I get, they're wanting to be ranked, but also I understand that.
Well, I understand that those were the rules when they came in.
They were the rules, antiquated as they may be. But and this is what have I said about the TSSAA and waivers? If you got a process but never grant them, why have a process? It doesn't make sense. Why am I going through this process when it's not going to, I mean, if there's no chance of you granting the waiver, then why is there a waiver available?
Because we might. Someone might hit us with an argument that we just go, you know what?
Well, if James Madison's argument isn't one of those, there isn't one out there.
Yeah, but again, I mean, rules for thee, but not for me.
Well,
I mean,
I understand that, but the fact is that they would be ranked in the top 20 of the college football playoff poll.
Yeah, they're kind of the unicorn in this situation.
In 2023, today, they deserve the waiver. It's not going to matter tonight. Tonight, what's going to happen? Does Georgia overtake Ohio State after a dismal first half from the Buckeyes and a pretty decent win over a top 12 ranked Missouri team from Georgia? Is that enough to put them over, especially with Notre Dame's loss?
I don't know that it is, though, because, I mean, this committee kind of strikes me as, as by looking at what they did in the opening week, I think they are a win-focused committee, and I don't know that I'm not sure the style points necessarily exist with
Well,
them.
I think resume does though. And again, Georgia beating top 12 ranked Missouri, Notre Dame once again losing. That win keeps falling down the list of good wins. And I don't know who else Ohio State's got on their schedule that makes you go, yeah, that's a good win.
Other than Michigan,
Penn State, that's it.
You know, a Michigan team that theoretically isn't still stealing signs.
Right. I mean, the win over Penn State was probably their best win, but is it as good or better than a home win for Georgia over Missouri? I guess that's up to the committee to decide.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that anything changes though.
You know, the bigger question, though, as posed by friend of the show Jerry Palm of CBS Sports, is does Washington jump Florida State?
After their win over USC, man, I don't know.
And Florida State only winning by 17 at Pitt?
I think 17 at Pitt's a pretty good win, considering that who was it that just went over there and lost? Who went up there and Pitt beat them?
Louisville?
Yeah. So I mean, it's on the road in conference. You know, 17's a pretty good win. I don't think that changes, even though I think Washington's win over USC was pretty impressive. It's close. It's real close. Those are the two. I mean, I think that's a potential for a jump, but I don't think that they do it. I don't think they're going to be mad at FSU for only winning by 17 on the road.
No. I don't know that anything changes.
If anything changes, it's Georgia
and Ohio State.
If anything, and that's about as close as I get.
I don't really think anything changes.
Does Michigan move?
Again,
now that AD's not there, they know that something's coming down the pike.
I think this committee is going to wait until whatever is coming down the pike gets here.
So Michigan at 3.
And yeah, and I think again, I think they're waiting for Ohio State to do their dirty work.
There you go. All right. Well, we don't have time to take a break, so let's just go into the top 5. It's Top 5 Tuesday, brought to you by our friends at Mid-South 5 Fitness. Thal is still in the gang at Steel Athletes, STEEL Athletes on Instagram. Top 5 sports scandals. Let's see here. Google random number generator. Where are you today? We'll start with Justin. Justin, you will be number 2. Mo will be 3, and I will be number 1.
So I will be 3 and 4.
You'll be 3 and 4. Correct. Yeah, you got the good roll today. Got the good roll today. All right. So my number 1 is going to be the Black Sox.
Okay.
Kind of hard to go around that one.
All right.
Justin, number 1.
My number uno is Lance Armstrong.
It's a good one. It's a good one. My number 1 will be Michael Vick.
It's a good one.
Oh, solid
two.
number 1 choice.
My number 2 will be, speaking of sign stealing, the Houston Astros.
Oh, wow.
Don't forget.
Yeah. Justin, number 2.
My numero 2 is Tanya Harding and Nancy Kerrigan in the Olympics.
You're not old enough to remember that.
Yeah, but it's great.
They've had a lot of rap songs that mention it, so I Googled. I'm just kidding.
Okay.
Now I watched the 30 for 30. It's insane.
It was instant.
You
should have been there in real time. Yeah.
No kidding.
My number 2 is Pete Rose. The gambling situation. Clearly,
Classic.
baseball is and gambling is a theme here. But number 3, speaking of gambling, Tim Donahue.
Y'all are killing me.
Man,
All right, JK.
30 for 30. Did you watch that 30 for 30? The
Say what?
Donahue.
Yeah, it's a good one. It's a
Yeah.
really good one.
Yeah, for sure. My number, what is it? 3? Is going to
3.
be. I have a number 3, but I'm gonna use this one as number 3, hoping I can get my original number 3 for number 4. I'm gonna go Deflategate with our man Tom Brady.
Okay.
You could just say the Patriots in general.
Yeah, right. Is it my turn?
It is your turn. We got 2 in a row.
I'm going with SMU Pony Excess.
Pony. I love the best name of a film ever, or like scandal.
And it's still me, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's still me.
It's you again, Margaret.
Penn State.
It's a good one. All right, Justin,
Good
did he take
value,
it?
too.
No,
I didn't take it.
I figured I might be able to keep it in the back pocket for a while, but because it's golf. But Tiger Woods showing the world,
trying to
showing
hold
the
on.
world that he pulls and he goes out at night.
Well, since you took that one, I'm gonna go with Kobe Bryant, slam dunk giant. Beat Kobe, son. Don't try it.
I never heard that. That's good.
I had Kobe on my list. I was trying to milk him.
Yeah, okay, so the next one is sort of it's kind of a bystander of the actual like thing that created the scandal, but O.J. Simpson's Heisman Trophy.
Oh man, literally it's funny you say that. My girlfriend just like pointed it out that one was like, you should say that one next. And
because I mean, the taking his Heisman away wasn't really the thing. It wasn't really a sports scandal. It was just a sports figure in a scandal.
Right.
But it created one of the greatest SB jokes of all time. And that's when Norm Macdonald said to who was it? He said, that is Charles Woodson. That is something they can never take away from you unless, you're charged with killing your wife and your ex-wife or something. It's a great Norm Macdonald joke, but
his delivery
great Norm Macdonald joke.
Dude was ridiculous.
He was brutal.
But yeah, OJ, I mean, yeah, taking OJ's Heisman away, which sent him on a spiral.
Yeah. Whose turn is it? Is it Justin's turn again?
It is Justin's turn. This is number 5, right?
That was your 5th, right?
That was my 5.
Okay.
Okay, so Ray Rice.
Yeah.
That's a scandal, right? Or was that just a
Oh,
crime?
that's both.
That shouldn't be funny. I'm sorry.
No, I know. Yeah. I just didn't
Is
know
that a scandal or is it just a crime?
Crime and scandals, they go
Yeah,
together.
I think it was pretty scandalous.
They go together like horse and carriage.
Sure. But yeah,
my number 5 is Danny Almonte.
I was gonna ask. I was gonna mention it if you didn't take it. So Danny Almonte, that's a good one.
Yeah.
The 15-year-old playing 12-year-old baseball.
Yeah.
No wonder he was so good.
Go figure. Yeah. Okay. All righty.
That is your Top 5 Tuesday, brought to you by Mid-South 5 Fitness, Dallas Steel at Steel Athletes on Instagram, and steelathletes.com, STEEL athletes. Tomorrow is Wednesday, which means Heather Williams will join us and talk about the NASCAR Championship. And boy, last 2 weeks have been tough for NASCAR folks because Ryan Blaney came out of nowhere to win a championship. So we'll talk to her about Ryan Blaney's win at Phoenix. We'll talk about what goes on, now starting in the off season. Of course, NASCAR Speed Week will be in Nashville a little bit later this month. So that's all coming up. Should be a lot of fun. We'll talk more basketball. Obviously, Vanderbilt will be on the floor tonight. And of course, it is Wild and Wacky Wednesday. The weirdest and wildest news from across the world will come your way. So don't forget.
In Florida.
And in Florida. So should be fun. Come back here on Main Street Media TV at 2 o'clock for Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone Joint. We come back to the Lee Company studio each and every day. We'll see you then.